Kia ora, Jess.
Yeah, how's it going?
I'm good, thank you. How's it going here?
Really good.
Good, all right. Would you like to talk to me a little bit about introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about what you're doing and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Jessica J, and I run a small alterations and garment repairs business called Reparation Studio. And I guess my practice is all about kind of extending garment longevity and working with, the repair of garments in a way that adds to the life of the garment and is quite creative, I guess, in its expression. And today I'm working with some students from Whitecliffe on a small workshop. So we've got some members of the public coming through with garments for repairs, so they're all working really hard on some repairs there and just kind of sharing some different techniques and getting some people's clothing fixed.
Have a little look at some of them?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what about just next to you? What are we doing here?
Yeah, so Bronnie is just
Hi,
letting her
Bronnie.
down, and Bronnie's actually wearing a shirt which has some holes in it, so she is darning the very top that she's wearing, which I love. Yeah.
I didn't come very prepared, but when I got here I noticed that actually this is full of opportunities.
Yeah, full of mending opportunities. It's great. Yeah.
So I'm just learning how to do like a basic darn that you were talking about as being kind of...
so I've just kind of done like a small example there, and then Bronnie's kind of interpreted that and has done these really lovely little, I like how they're quite geometric, and you've almost got like a little frame for the repair there. It's really beautiful work. Yeah, so that's
and being able to
nice.
see the contrasting colour helps me with learning it, but also, makes it an interesting feature.
Yeah.
New life to the old black singlet.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. So would you like to show me somebody else's work, or that you brought some examples along too, didn't you?
Some examples of some darning that I've worked on recently.
Sorry, I'll just get you to do that again.
These what do you want to talk about what you're working on? You can talk
So
about
these jeans had like a huge rip in them, so I've put a patch underneath, and then I'm going across with a variety of kind of organic running stitches, vertical and horizontal, to try close it in, make them more wearable again. Can't really wear jeans with a big rip in the back, so yeah.
So you've put the patch on the inside.
Yeah, but you could put it on the outside, but I just thought, because they're kind of a bit worn looking anyway, as part of the style, it might look good on the inside. Yeah.
Cool. And have you done this before?
No, I actually haven't. But so it's kind of interesting and experimental, so that's good. Yeah.
And do you think you'll do it again?
Yeah,
do you
for
think?
sure. Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Good. So show me some of the work that you've done.
So these are some very recent pieces of knitwear that I've been working on. So I kind of found these just on Trade Me, amazingly. It's amazing what people sell on Trade Me that is absolutely ripped to shreds. But I've kind of gone through and darned all the holes and sort of frayed edges, and then embellished it all with gemstones. I guess I've just been kind of trying to push my repairs aesthetic a little bit further, and I'm trying to explore how far you can take the visibility of a visible mend, I guess, and kind of look at celebrating the wear of the garment and sort of creating something quite new and beautiful out of it. I guess I always hope while still kind of honouring the character of the original garment. So you can see this is like a really beautiful New Zealand wool piece. I imagine it's probably made in New Zealand by the looks of that label. I'm not sure though. I don't know if it's got the original label.
No, it doesn't.
on
It
there.
has, but it doesn't say that it's made in New Zealand.
But it's
Highly likely,
nice
just
little-
looking at its era.
Yeah, and then this one here I think is possibly a home knitted piece, but it had like a big hole in the armpit, and this entire seam along here was ripped. So that one I've kind of experimented with keeping all the ends of the darning kind of flowing down into like a little bit of it. So I guess really pushing that idea of how visible a visible mend can be. So yeah, it's been really fun to work on.
Cool.
And then yeah, we're just working on some patch repairs
All right.
today as well on a pair of trousers. We've got a bit of a seed stitch going on here on a silk patch on silk trousers, so quite a different technique to the darning.
So do you do, so tell me how you've come to this. Do you do this, you do it for other people?
Yes, yeah. So I work on a lot of work for clients at the moment, which I really enjoy. And then, so I do garment repairs and alterations. So I get a lot of clients coming to me with garments which are in need of repairs. And I guess the scope for that is really broad. Like, it's amazing how many different garments come in, and kind of, really look at working with the client on what they're wanting the repair to look like, whether they're wanting it to be really visible or very subtle. And then at the moment I'm also kind of trying to work on some more creative repairs for, I guess, a small collection of repaired garments as well. So that's all a bit more personal work, those ones. But if clients come to me and want like a really tassely done, then I would also love that. Like,
so you have that conversation with a client, they bring something in and you have that conversation with them.
Yeah, and I think it's really important as well with repairs work. It's like generally you're working with, I guess, garments which are quite well loved and have this like really beautiful kind of like personal history. I often like to hear about like how the damage happened, like, you know, when the person's going to be wearing the garment, how they imagine they want the garment to look once it's repaired, because I guess I always look at repairs as like a continuation of a garment's life, and it needs to be adding value to that garment rather than just sort of putting a plaster over something, I suppose. So really important for me to have those, really nice consultations and kind of conversations with my clients about what they're wanting from the repairs and for the rest of the life for their garments.
So you trained as a fashion designer at Whitecliffe's?
Yes.
What's brought you to this way of designing and making?
I graduated from Whitecliffe in 2018, and following on from that I worked for a few local designers and workrooms, sort of working in sampling specifically, so pattern making and general sort of like sampling workroom kind of assistant roles, which was really enjoyable and like great for me to be able to use the skills that I developed while I was studying. But I guess I kind of got to a point where I sort of started becoming a lot more interested in repairs work, and I guess looking at the ways that I could still sort of like creatively engage with fashion and textiles without having to make anything new. So I kind of got to this point of, I guess creative repairs and how that could work for me going forward as a practice, rather than kind of constantly having to be creating and churning out new garments, you know. And I think there's lots of great ways that people are doing that, but I guess for me I was like, I'm more interested in the longevity of existing garments. And I think I really enjoy hearing about like the history and like personal narrative and kind of, all the stories that go with garments that have already been worn is something that's really interesting to me. So I guess repairs and alterations are a nice way to kind of explore that as well.
So it's sort of I suppose sort of honouring the history of a garment, and an understanding too that even a garment, an old garment, that it's dynamic. A garment is dynamic too.
I love this idea of kind of the repairs of a garment, or any garment in its use phase, which ideally the use phase is for as long as possible, that the garments are in kind of this, I guess, like state of constantly becoming and changing and morphing into something new through wear. And I think, once again, repairs is a really nice way of kind of pushing that forward, and I hope quite a meaningful way. And especially that's why days like today are so important. I think sort of sharing those skills and teaching people how to mend their own garments is just so incredible, because I mean sometimes I'll spend hours or days working on a garment for someone, and then I feel really connected to the garment because I've spent so much time kind of doing this hand repair, and it is quite like an intimate process, I think, when you've been like hand stitching for so many hours. And I guess that's something I really want to share with more people to kind of help them develop that relationship to their own garments.
Yes, yeah. Lovely.
Plus, it's just like a really lovely process. It's a great way to slow down as well. Like, it's just, yeah. So today's been great. Having people come through and being really willing to try out different techniques as well has been fantastic. Yeah.
Lovely. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, thank you. How are we doing on time? Will we just have a... Oh, look, there's people doing great things. Okay, well, we've just probably got another 5 minutes before we're finished, so take me through and introduce me to some of the people who are doing something.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look what's going on.
Dee Dee, did you bring something to repair?
I did.
All right. Well, why don't you just show it to Jess actually and tell her what it is?
Okay,
yeah.
Show me what
Come on
you
then.
I've got in my bag.
Cool.
I was just going to sneak in.
We've got a nice little spare spot here. So shall we have a look at what we've got?
What a bag of stuff, even though I know it's probably just time for
Oh my
one
gosh,
thing.
amazing. No,
So I'll
we've
pick
got
one
so
thing,
many
eh?
people on hand to help out. So let's have a look.
So I heard you could like take up jeans, or you can like mend like frayed
Yeah,
things.
absolutely.
What shall I go for? I'd go for the sleeves, probably. The
Yeah,
frayed
we
thing?
can look at some repairs first if you want to.
Yeah, I've got a couple of hoodies, and they've got like frayed sleeves. I don't know which one. This one's worse actually. That one's slightly better. I don't know if you want to see they're all bad ones, or the slightly better ones.
Sleeves, yeah.
The other hoodie's a bit more, probably less to do. I don't know if they're fixable. There you go. That's not so bad.
Oh, absolutely fixable. So probably what I'd look at doing is, I reckon we'd probably look at darning along the edge there since you've got stretch in the fabric. Or we could potentially look at doing like a stretchy patch. So should we have a look at what kind of like colours and things we've got for fabric and everything on hand today? What would you look at doing with this?
I would agree, or like a blanket stitch perhaps.
Yeah, blanket
Around
stitch
the
would
edge.
be really nice actually. Might have to do like a bit of a darn in there because that's
Yeah.
gone quite...
Yeah.
I have the same thing. All
I leave
my
stuff
sleeves
way too long,
get
eh?
so ragged.
Yeah. Thank you.
So why did you choose these pieces, Dee Dee, to bring along?
Just from talking to you and thinking about what I had that was hopefully still mendable, stuff that's just worn out a bit. I always leave stuff a bit too long as well and just keep wearing it because, you know, they're favourite old things. So I thought, well, the hoodies are obvious, and then jeans to take up is just another thing on the list. Yeah.
Fabulous. So, a new life for your old hoodie. Yes. We'll see it around town soon. Hey, thank you. Jess, thank you so much. And thank you all of you for your beautiful work.
Thank you for organising
Yeah,
this
cool.
amazing day. It's been so great.
Cool,
Yeah.
great.
Cool. See you.